Alves, Technical Marketing Manager with Wolters Kluwer Tax and Accounting. And joining us today for a coffee break is Ross Sullivan, Chair of the National Tax Policy Group at the Brownstein Law Firm. And the topic for today is updates from Washington. And Ross, typically in August, we see a little bit of a break in Congress, but there seems to be a lot going on. How are negotiations going in Washington? And are they likely to pass some more tax relief for individuals or small businesses? We know that you spend a lot of time there. So what do you have for us today?
Well, Luis, Congress is still here in Washington in August, and they're likely to be here for a couple of weeks. They're here because the coronavirus has decimated parts of our U.S. economy, and Congress has decided they probably need to pass some additional legislation to help American individuals as well as businesses to survive this pandemic and move forward as they reopen their businesses and try to get back on a more normal schedule. So Congress is likely to pass some legislation. It's not going to be centered on tax issues, but it is likely to have some tax cuts in it. Some will be for individuals, likely another stimulus payment like the ones that were given out earlier this year. There's also going to be a few things for businesses as well.
So with that, is there anything new under consideration?
Well, most of the provisions they're looking at now would be changes or modifications to something that has already passed, like the economic impact payments or the employee retention tax credit. But there is one new thing, and I think your audience today probably ought to take a look at it. It's called the Safe and Healthy Workplace Tax Credit. It's brand new. Not in the code right now, but it is a tax credit of up to 50% of the cost that a small business incurs to clean their business location and to protect their employees and customers. Now, the maximum credit per quarter is $1,000 per employee for businesses that have under 500 employees. If you got more than 500 employees, the amount goes down until it caps out at $500 per employee. But Congress has realized that businesses are incurring increased costs to fight COVID-19 and protect their workers and customers. And Congress wants to help businesses cover a portion of those costs. Senate Republicans proposed this idea just last week, July 27th, and it's getting a pretty good reception across the Hill.
So with that, how significant is this tax credit for a small business?
Well, Luis, it depends on how many employees the business has. But let's take an example of a coffee shop. And let's say they incurred $120,000 worth of qualified expenses in the third quarter of this year. And let's say they have 50 employees. Well, the credit generally is 50% of your qualified expenses. So that could be $60,000. However, the maximum, again, is $1,000 per employee. Since they have 50 employees, their maximum credit that they can claim is $50,000.
So I see how this could be helpful. Now, what makes you think that it is actually going to pass?
Well, I've talked with a number of Democratic members of Congress, as well as some of their key staff, both in the House and the Senate. And if they disagree with the proposal the Republicans put forward, they're usually pretty bold about saying such. In this case, they've said they really kind of like this credit and they'd like to work with Republicans to get something in the final bill.
So, and with that, Ross, so what expenses actually qualify for this credit?
Well, there are three kinds of expenses that qualify. First, there's qualified employee protection expenses. These are the things you would think of first. Employee and customer testing to see if people have coronavirus. All the equipment, the masks, the gloves, disinfectants, cleaning products, even service contracts with outside groups who come in and clean at night. Maybe you do a deep clean usually once a week, but now you're going to do it every night. Those expenses qualify. Second, qualified workplace reconfiguration expenses. As we know, retail establishments and restaurants are having to restructure their interiors to make sure people can safely stay 6 feet apart to protect customers and employees. So they may have those plexiglass windows at the cashier, the register. They may very well have to move some of their booths, some of their inventory, and those costs will qualify. Finally, some businesses have what we call workplace technology expenses. If they have computer software that helps them manage how many people are in their retail establishment, that they can determine how many people are in there so that they don't exceed their limit. If they have special technology equipment that will allow for touchless payment for services and products that people buy, that can qualify as well.
And so finally, how will businesses actually claim this credit? Will it be at the end of the year, or can they get it more quickly than that?
Yeah, most people claim their credits when they file their return, but this one is refundable. And so what the law will allow is similar to what the law currently allows with regard to the employee retention tax credit. In other words, it's allowing employers to withhold some of the employment taxes that they withhold and generally forward onto the IRS. So the employer's share of OASDI, they get to keep. We actually expect the IRS to follow the pattern of the employee retention tax credit and allow companies to withhold other employment-related payroll and income taxes. And to the extent that their credit would exceed those amount of payroll taxes, they can file a form with the IRS and claim a refund that hopefully will come within a matter of weeks.
Well, thank you, Ross, once again for sharing these insights directly from Washington. A lot of great content today, and you'll be participating in the CCH Forward Together virtual event, as well as the GetWise training event later this year in the fall. So we have registrations open right now, a lot of sessions, a lot of content that will be applicable for tax preparation next year. So definitely sign up for our virtual events in the fall. And if you have any questions, there's information to be found on the websites that you see on screen. Ross, once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today for a cup of coffee. And thank you everybody else for watching. Bye-bye.